So a few things about me. I tell all of my classes on the first day, if you think I'm half as funny as I think I am, we will have a great time together. Secondly, if anybody tells you they're a social media expert, you should probably just get up and leave at that point. Save yourself a lot of time. I am by no means an expert. I'm literally listen to some of the stuff that you guys are hoping to get today, and I'm really going to apologize right now because that's not why they had me come. They told me to come talk about trends. So you talking about Facebook analytics, I was like, oh my gosh, there is so much good stuff in this room and so much, that can help you. And there's an overwhelming amount of information. So when Peggy reached out to me, she said, we want to kick off 2017. We want to talk about what the trends are, right? And I was like, oh no, that's perfect. So I started digging into that over the last month or so to kind of get myself ready for what I was going to talk to you guys about. And here's what I learned about if you Google social media trends, and this is a great time, right? Because everybody started making predictions. Most of the people that are publishing content on making predictions and what the trends are going to be and what you should be doing in 2017 are selling something, right? Content marketing, so I took a good look at those and I was like, okay. And what I was really trying to be conscious of is I wasn't coming in here to talk to big business, right? I wasn't having a $500 conference where you're going to come in and bring your marketing experts and I'm just going to tell you what all the Fortune 500 companies are doing. I wanted to break down what's going on and have it make sense for what you all are doing in the landscape that you're in. I have a couple of just really I think what I want to give you today, more so than just a bunch of social media tools and buzzwords and things you can't live without, are a couple lenses that I want you to look at all of this through. And what I want you to think about as you go through 2017. Someone on YouTube can help you with how to use Facebook analytics, right? Facebook will help you learn how to use Facebook analytics, because what's Facebook want you to do? Pay to advertise, right? They got the algorithm, so it's almost impossible just to have a business page on Facebook and be effective in that way. So there were trends that we see, and I love when people tell me, my students really tell me, Facebook's for old people. We're not on Facebook anymore. I don't know how that can possibly be true. I don't know that they're spending nearly as much time there as they are on other platforms. Part of that is because we showed up, right? We're all planning our high school reunions and sharing pictures of our kids and grandkids and everything else. So, and if you were on Facebook the last 2 years, right, with everything going on Facebook, I too wanted to leave Facebook. And there's just a lot. So if Facebook were a country, if we took the population that is actively using Facebook, not has a Facebook account, actively using Facebook, it would be the world's largest country. There's more people on Facebook than there are in China. So if you tell me as a small business person, I don't tweet, good, don't. You got enough to do. Don't go try and learn something new. I'm not 100% confident that I can get up here and talk about trends in 2018 and mention Twitter. I don't know what's going on with Twitter. Twitter doesn't know what's going on with Twitter, right? Twitter can't figure out how to make money, and I think everyone in this room would agree that's kind of a really important part of staying in business. So Twitter's right now trying to figure out how to get bought out. And everyone's walked away from them. Disney's walked away, Salesforce, everybody's walked away from Twitter. Snapchat, really growing. I'll be honest with you, I was a high school teacher when Snapchat came out, and I stayed away from it. I didn't want to have to testify about anything, and they weren't really using Snapchat for businesses or anything really positive or good. It's transformed a ton. There's a lot of excellent branding happening on Snapchat all the time, and Snapchat's kind of taken the Facebook road of helping businesses figure out how to tell your story, right? It's all storytelling now. So Snapchat is good. It's probably, you were not born a digital native, right? You have to understand the people I spend time with over on that campus have never licked a postage stamp, right? They've never dialed a phone, right? They're digital natives. They don't understand what it's like not to have optimal graphics on a video game, right? They can't even comprehend how we grew up. My son, who's 10, asked me the other day, what did you do when you were a kid? And I was like, man, I got off the bus, I grabbed my bike, and I was gone for 3 hours. Where did you go? What did you do? Like, he's just mesmerized by this, right? So I don't expect you to get up in the morning and be digital natives. Like, let's just erase that. Let's forget about it. If you don't have the skill set or the comfort level or the time to learn, or you don't see how it fits into your business, don't do it, right? So what I'm going to talk about with trends, a couple things. What are some social media trends from 2016 that you guys remember, or maybe you tried to use, or that you're challenged with, or come to mind when you think about social media?
Well, the fake news comes to my mind.
Okay.
What's real and what's not?
Fake news is really on the forefront, right? Because you've got Google and you've got Facebook, who, by the way, this is the other creepy part of how big Facebook is. Facebook isn't in China. They're bigger than the population of China, and they're not in China. Neither is Google. Does anybody know why those two companies won't operate in China? Yeah, the government says, come on in, but we'll need access to everything. Right? So when Dennis is at home doing Google searches, we're going to need to have access to what he's searching all the time at any point. Oh, and he has Gmail. We're going to need access to that too. And we want to see his phone. And Google and Facebook don't operate that way. So Google and Facebook aren't in China. Right? So Google and Facebook have to defend their reputation, protect us, because we know we can handle some data breaches. Data breaches happen, right? We're kind of used to that. But we get a really impactful data situation with some of those more trusted companies, and we've got problems, especially with as much information as they're collecting on us. Facebook is trying to keep us happy, right? And they're trying to keep you paying to get a hold of all of us happy people on Facebook. So they're really combating fake news a lot. Twitter's trying to figure out how to do that. Instagram and Snapchat, don't worry about it. Fake news is really not a problem with all you deal with is images, right? It's very safe, it's very easy. Sidebar though, does anybody know who owns Instagram? Facebook. So the algorithm that's plagued us all over the last couple years, which makes it harder and harder and harder for us to be a business on Facebook, is now on Instagram, right? I'm a chronological thinker. I'm old, right? I'm like the postage stamp, right? So I don't like getting on Instagram and trolling through, and I see one of my former students that I taught on her honeymoon, and I think, oh my gosh, look at that. And then I go down 4 pictures, and there she is at a rehearsal dinner. And I think, what's going on here, right? Their Instagram's feeding me her pictures in the order which it thinks I would be interested in, or the order of which everyone else on her feed has interacted with them. That's not how I like to creep on people. I'd like to creep on you chronologically. I want to go to your rehearsal dinner, then I want to go to your wedding, and then I want to go with you on your honeymoon, right? How's that so much to ask? So it makes it hard, right? It makes it hard. But all we're doing is trying to figure out, like, the fake news things, the clickbait. Oh, that stuff drives me crazy. What else? 2016. Huh?
Facebook Live.
Facebook Live. Yes, big. Next month, you guys. April. Ooh, that's a long time.
April 23rd.
April 23rd, you are going to be in for a treat to come. If you're Facebook Live, Derek McLean will be here. And I'm coming. I have not got to see him yet. He's like Facebook Live, tons of good tips and tricks. I watched his Facebook Live of the one he did in Muncie. It's good stuff. You will get a ton from him. And I will talk about video and live video, and I'm going to make you make that New Year's resolution that you'll do a Facebook Live with your business at some point. Something, yes. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Promote that. That'll be up for registration soon. It's the do's and don'ts of Facebook Live, and thank you for the...
So good. He's so good. So yeah, Facebook Live, and now the same trend is happening on Instagram. You can do an Instagram story, you can go live. Instagram story is really kind of cool right now because that's the only place you can actually get a link. So if you want to send somebody somewhere to your website or to something else, you can put a link in your Instagram story right across something. So if you have a product, you can actually put a link in your story. So that's kind of a big deal for Instagram right now. So live.
Quick question about live. And I know this is about the thing in April, but more than that, are they also going to address things like Periscope?
I don't know if he'll talk about Periscope. He will probably talk about live video and just do's and don'ts of that.
They're competitive products.
Yes. Yes, and Instagram or Snapchat, anything you can go live video. I think a lot of the etiquette, a lot of best practices, completely transferable across any of those platforms. Any other trends you think of?
I remember when Facebook first came out, imagery, what it looked like, more textual. Now the importance and the value that you put on the amazing graphic that you have that draws attention, coupled with good text. Is it short? Is it long? Is it quick to the point? How long am I going to look at it? When I'm swiping, if I don't see something that I want that grabs my attention, I pretty much go past it pretty quickly. So
right. Attention span.
Yeah.
I just saw a thing the other day. A goldfish has a 6-second, don't quote me on this, 6-second attention span. The average human right now is 4. So you have a better chance of getting a goldfish to click on your Facebook post than you do a human being. So yes, which is why you should be, people should just be flocking to you. You think like an artist, you do graphic design, you can write, because really storytelling right now isn't even telling stories, it's imagery, right? That's the thing. I had lunch with a guy, Richard Childress Racing, over downtown and around the Speedway and all over. He's big in NASCAR. They're one of the first people to start to figure out how to analyze the background things. Like, remember NASCAR, right? NASCAR used to have the most loyal fans, and when NASCAR people would watch people turn left for 4 hours every Sunday. It was a big deal. They had very low followings, and those cars were just stickers everywhere and banners and very good customer loyalty in regards to brands affiliated with NASCAR. Well, they're trying to bring that back, so they're working on staging live videos and what's in the background of those videos. And they actually have a way to measure sight lines and gross impressions from a 30-second video on Snapchat, how many gross impressions and what that does psychologically to a customer that sees that in the back. I know, clutch your pearls, right? She back there like, right? I'm with you, girl. I'm like, it's like crazy. And that's a race team doing that stuff, right? It's fascinating. And it's also very intimidating. Like, I got to stage my Facebook video? What? So yeah, a couple of things I will tell you that I think were trends in 2016. Major distrust. The fake news thing's part of it. Major distrust. A person stands up and tells you one thing, you go back to social media an hour later, everybody's got the exact opposite evidence of this person. We're just over that, right? It's a lot of distrust, just a lot of fear. If there's a powerful thing that Google does every year, and it's called the year in search. Right? So you can go in, and I think they've done it, I think I was first introduced to this in 2014, but you can go Google, oddly enough, Google the year in trust 2016, and this video comes up, and it shows you what the year in search, it shows you what people were searching for most often, right? And it starts with all the violence and the killings and it's a lot of really strong imagery. The little boy, the refugee, I said the little boy and everybody's like, yeah, right, sitting in the ambulance holding it. There's all of that, right? That's what I think when we reflect back on 2016. What I want you to think about when you think about what should I be doing, how should I be reaching my customer, is where is your customer? And not just physically, right? But where are they? What are they feeling? What are they looking for? What do they need? And then I'm going to ask this question. I want you to keep this in the front of your mind. A lot of you are small businesses, and this is extremely important. Who do people do business with? People or businesses? People, right? So when we talk about Facebook Live, when we talk about some of that stuff today, I'm going to encourage you to get out of your comfort zone a little bit with that stuff. Nobody can talk about CIA sports like you can, right? No, why would you want anybody else to, unless they were a customer, and we'll talk about that a little bit too. So when I start looking at predictions, stories, right? Instagram stories, Snapchat stories, it all goes back to using a series of pictures or video to tell your story or to let somebody else tell your story. Live video is going to be huge. Chatbots. Anybody know what a chat bot is?
I know what a search bot is.
What's a search bot? What's a bot?
A computer doing the work.
Right, like a robot, right? Like some sort of automated AI, artificial intelligence, right? So if you had to put AI robot with chat, what do you think a chat bot is? Auto response type thing. It's really no different than when you call to yell at the cable company or the cell phone people and they say, what's your phone number? And you can say it, right? Or you can type it in. And when you get that, they go, oh, wait 1 second. And then they pull up your record and they say, you're calling from blah, 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 or you're this, or you're last, right? We've been engaging with this technology for years. It's just now they're trying to put it in a form where it's helpful to you. So this kind of will answer questions for customers. It will respond to them. I'll show you some examples of them later, but that's huge. How many of you have the ability to learn, purchase, institute, and train your customers on a chatbot in 2017? That's what I thought. And that's fine, right? But here's what you have to understand is more and more of the big companies are going to do it. They're going to learn and teach and train and give your customers a new set of expectation on things. I had a conversation with a small business person in a different county a long time ago, and he said, I am not willing to check my email after business hours. Oh. Okay, good. Somebody will, right? You know, like he's like, I do this enough, I'm not going to be everywhere all the time for everybody. Good. He's also not in business anymore, right? Now, I wasn't even trying to tell him, you know, sit up all night, wait for a customer to contact you. No, set the expectations of what your reply will be, okay? Set the expectations. It's okay to talk to your customers and find out how they want to get a hold of you, but it's also okay to say, you know, I'm only going to answer this email during these times, or I only check email once a day, or I forget I have Facebook Messenger on my phone. People will pop up and ask you questions in the most crazy ways over the next 365 days because other brands, other companies, other size entities are going to engage with them that way. So be on the lookout for that. I'm not telling you you have to initiate contact with your customers that way, but be aware of what the trends are because that's going to be what your customers are exposed to. And it may or may not even occur for you in 2017. But just know that that technology is out there and it's going to be working. Nobody expects the person they do business with to have the same technology and interactivity as a big, huge conglomerate, right? I don't expect anyone to interact with me the way that Starbucks or American Airlines or anybody else does, right? So I think that's fairly good. Your customers won't either. But I do want to talk about what is a trend. Because I listen to a lot of podcasts. I have a 35-minute drive to work from door to door, and I can get in a really good podcast during that time. And I do that every day on the way to work and on the way back from work. And that's where I do a ton of my learning and a ton of my thinking outside the box, right? So I listened to a podcast the other day. It was very timely because it was of this. And I'll tell you the book and the guy. I don't know about reading his book. I haven't done that. But I've listened to a couple of his podcasts and I get his newsletter. It's phenomenal. I think we know what the dictionary would tell us a trend is. What do you think a trend is? What are, like we said, trends in social media. You said Facebook Live.
What the cool kids are doing.
What the cool kids are doing, what the youngsters do, what everybody else is doing that you're not, you think is a trend, right? Okay. Is Snapchat a trend? Is Facebook Live a trend?
No, because I think a trend is something that goes away, isn't it? Something is a trend, it's not necessarily going to stick around. They're not trends.
I would give you that.
So.
I talk in fads. I said fad in class the other day, and my students were like, that's what old people say. Well, good, I'm qualified. I said fad, right? It is somewhat there and then on to the next thing, which is why I don't like to think about trends. Does anybody know who came up with the classification of generations?
An old person?
Well, yeah, but I'm gonna go with you on this. Who thought it would be good to classify people by years of birth and things? No, wrong country. Huh? Close. What do you do? Yeah. You're a marketer, right?
Oh, okay.
Marketers. marketers thought, let's classify people by the years that they were born, right? Then we can say all of these people had this happen to them, right? And they're also being raised by this group of people who had this happen to them. So here's how we sell them stuff. Well, we've all fallen into that, and I'm not a particular fan of it. Part of it is because I spend all my time and try to relate. I figure I'm in the edutainment business, right? Education, entertainment, because I gotta like do a lot of stuff to keep their attention, and I have to speak their language, and I have to give examples that make sense to them, right? So I feel like I'm living in one generation, was born in another, and act completely different. I am with people who are born in my generation, who like make so much fun of me for how much I'm on my phone, that I'm like, I get you and I were born at the same time. We are not, like, I don't like that generation classification. I want to group people by behavior. Like, I want to take people and group them by behavior, not by age. So when you say old people are still on Facebook, yeah, but they're also the people who are like value the connectivity. They value the creeping. They value the pictures. They value the conversation and those types of things. Those are the people that are left on Facebook. It doesn't matter what age they are, right? The way that people interact with what you and I just listed as trends, Facebook Live, Snapchat, who's on Instagram, all of the ways that we're digesting things now. The trend is the consumer interaction and behavior, not the platform. Because like you said, probably why we're here today, something else is taking over. The most New Year's Eve greetings were sent, anybody know what platform? Not even on Snapchat. I know, but this one blew my mind. WhatsApp. WhatsApp is a text app that's great for international, right? The reason it was more popular than Facebook or Snapchat or Instagram or Twitter is because it's global, has more users, right? So again, platforms can be misleading. Like you might think, I'm trying to figure out how to sell more stuff and get more people and find more people and do more things on Facebook. If that's where you feel like your customers are, good. But think about the lens through which your customer interacts with Facebook and why they're there. And think about who you are to your customer and why they would think it was okay to meet you there, right? You know, if I sell car parts, I'm not 100% sure Instagram's gonna be my place. It's probably gonna be YouTube, right? I probably need a lot of instructional videos. I probably need, you know, a lot more than what Instagram can offer me. Travel, there's a lot of really good imagery that goes with travel, right? And there's a lot of good stuff you can do. And then you can go back up into the story and relate to the customer. So you have to figure out what's good for you. But thinking about a trend, I don't want you to think in terms of platforms. I don't want you to think about in terms of where you're not or what's upcoming. I want you to think in terms of the customer behavior and interaction with what you're looking at.
While you're speaking about these initiatives, platforms, and your engagement model that you're trying to describe here, what's coming upon me is all of a sudden is, you know, we establish our credibility on these social media platforms, and when you mess that up, people butcher you on those platforms if you get it wrong or whatnot. I mean, how many of us would be scared to say, I'm afraid to put out that instructional video. Good golly geez, if I'm even slightly wrong, I'm going to get called out on it, and that jeopardizes your business.
So let me get this right. I'm going to argue with you.
My mind, but it's going to impact my wallet. With any small business owner in here, what's the risk?
So if I walked into you face to face and asked you how do you use this, you wouldn't tell me because you'd be afraid you'd be wrong?
No.
So I'm gonna no, don't rephrase. I'll rephrase it for you because that's what I'm paid to do. I have a degree in it. You are operating under the assumption, and you said this came out of your mouth, and I know you didn't mean for it to, but I'm glad it did because this I think is how everybody thinks. You don't establish your credibility on social media. You already have a reputation. You already have credibility. You already have a brand. You're going to put it on social media and more people are going to see it, but isn't that what you're all after? Try to get the funnel full? Right? Like, I don't know. And that's what I really want you to get out of today is don't be scared of putting stuff on social media. Like, I didn't come here today to leave with 40 new friends. I don't, you know, like, I don't need for you guys. Now, I do work with a bunch of people and they're little, digital natives that feel like if I don't have 30,000 followers, then, whoa, but you've already, and I try to tell this all the time, you have a brand. You have a reputation. If I don't trust in you or believe in you or I'm not intrigued by you or you're not adding value, I'm not watching whatever you put on social media anyway. I'm probably not even following you. So get over your fear. That's the thing. I'm going to talk today, and I'm going to push this live video thing, right? I'm going to push this being live and being authentic and being vulnerable because that's what your customers want to see. We don't need another Kim Kardashian, right? We don't need you to have another spokesperson. I don't need another Dove video where I see how they made that swimsuit model look like that swimsuit model, right? I need you to be you. I need you to be authentic. I need you to add value or I don't have time for you, right? So I don't need you to have a studio and a stage and a spokesperson and a script and all that stuff. I don't even need you to go live for more than a few seconds or minutes or whatever it is you're trying to convey to me. I just need you to remind me that you're out there. I need you to be authentic. Yes.
I'm going to agree with Dennis a little bit.
Okay.
And you had an opportunity to respond to what he just said. You didn't have an opportunity to respond to what. So once we put it out there, if people will criticize us. I posted something the other day in response to somebody else's post, and I was labeled a troll. I had to look up what a troll was. And I wasn't.
On your personal page or your business page?
Personal business, but personal page. But when I put something out there, it's one-way communication. If I have you standing in my shop and I'm explaining to you how to do something, and you don't understand it or you think I'm wrong, you're going to tell me and we're going to have dialogue. That's completely different than just one way.
Agreed. So maybe you have to frame whatever content you're about to put out there. And if this is like a no-go for you, if you have people on your business page that are going to lash out at you for some reason, then maybe you need to figure out why they're on your page and it's a personal thing. I can't tell you. I don't know who your target market is. So I can't tell you you're going to sell as much or more or you're going to endear to people or connect with them on a social media platform more than you will in your business. What I can tell you is some other stuff that I've got to talk to you about just to bring this to the forefront of your mind that, it is risky, but I think about the billboard on 69 where the lawyer is part of his head sticks up and there's always birds sitting there. I think every time I drive by, if old boy knew that was what's going on with that, he probably wouldn't put his face up there, right? It's those are the things that I think anytime you put anything personal out there, it's vulnerability. But I think the world is ready for that. I think that we are ready for you to just be real. And if somebody lashes out at you, it's your opportunity to be real and vulnerable in return. If somebody called you a troll, say, okay, cool, BRB, I'm going to go look that up. I'll be right back. I'll come right back and answer to that. You have the chance to show your personality. People will poke at you to get a response, right? That's the only reason they're on there doing that kind of stuff. I don't think that happens if your content that you're sharing is of value to everyone, and it's not going to be of value to everyone. There are people out there who will take a moment to let you know, that wasn't any, fine, move on, right? If you don't respond to it, chances are somebody else will stand up for you. But I don't know that that's a reason to not be there. And I'm telling you, people in society in this country today are ready for some real vulnerable people. They want to see you do a Facebook Live video, if your desk is messy. They want to see you I don't trust people that don't have anything on their desk. Right? If your desk is messy, I have a friend who does Facebook Live every single day, and she starts every single Facebook Live with, oh my gosh, I don't even have any makeup on. So I finally called her. I said, Angela, stop talking about not having nobody. Like, I'm not looking at your eyelashes, right? I'm ready to hear what you have to say, because every time she comes live with something, it gives me something cool to think about for the day. It's inspiring. It means something to me. She's about to give me a little nugget of something. Not every day is great, but she's still on there every single day. I see it come up on my phone. If I'm available, I'll stop and look. She's genuine. She's authentic. And she even said, you know, we have this tendency as humans to not take compliments well, right? I read a story one time about a little girl who's wearing her Easter dress, and somebody said, oh my gosh, your dress is so pretty. And the first thing she did was lift up her skirt and show the person who gave her the compliment these big scabs on her knees. She's 6 years old, right? We start that like, oh, you like my dress? Well, let me show you these big scabs on my knees, right? Like, you paid me a compliment, let me you know, we got to get over that. And you're vulnerable and you're real and you're connecting to your audience.
I just want to add, I think with my experience, people like to see the realness,
Mm-hmm.
being vulnerable, and it does. I've gotten some bad stuff on my stuff, but it's how you respond. That's not what I was going to say. Are you going to talk at all about hashtags? Because I've noticed, no. Okay, so you don't think that's important?
I sat in a 45-minute meeting at work one time about a hashtag, and I had to stop and raise my hand at like minute 42. And this might be rude, but I had to say it. Nobody outside the room cares about your hashtag. No, let me listen, because they couldn't decide, should it be my this, how should we word the hashtag? It doesn't matter. You use the hashtag consistently. You investigate the hashtags, research the hashtags, find the hashtags that get you in the network you want to be in, and just use them.
Well,
use them all day.
In general, not specifically, but about the importance of them or why they're so important now.
They are important.
Yeah.
They're very searchable. They're very important on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. Very important on Instagram. Find a lot of new followers through hashtags. But you need to follow the hashtag for a while, research the hashtag for a while, cultivate it, and figure it out, and then just use it consistently. I get a ton of new followers when I use a new hashtag. I'm not on there for followers because I'm not selling anything. So then I'm like, oh. And so yeah, hashtags are still very relevant.
I was just going to say, not everybody is going to like you.
No.
But not everybody liked you before. You just now know who doesn't like you.
Right. And if you want to keep thinking everybody does, then don't put any content on social media.
My point is that you just need to determine who is important that likes you and who is a troll or...
Right.
Now you can see it because there's literally a thumbs up button. But those people either liked you or didn't like you.
And there's probably a bunch of people out there that like you on Facebook that don't ever get to see you because you're hidden away because you're a business page, right? So by popping up and doing a live video, that's pretty cool. That'll get you right in there. If you don't want to put your content on there, if you're not comfortable putting yourself on there, then you're probably not going to get comfortable with putting other people's reviews of you or other people's testimonials. Or I was getting my hair cut the other day and they came by with a phone and I was like on a Facebook Live video for like 27 seconds. I had color in my hair and it was sticking up 42 different directions, and I had color on my eyebrows. I could not have looked any more like the new little clown emoji. But do you know why I sat there and I let them do that? Because I know that the person doing my hair and everybody else in the room would have done the same thing. We were having the best time. It fit the moment. It fits the culture of where I get my hair cut. It fits the personality. And I love the lady that does my hair. I would do anything for her. So they want to put me on there looking like a clown. I was on it. And then the great thing about it is I went home and I pulled it up and I showed my husband and my son and we had a really good laugh. Like, it was funny. Like, it's good stuff, right? I don't know, if they had said, can we do a before and after picture of you? I'd have walked out there going, oh Lord, was I that bad before that you had to do it after? Right? Like, but it was really just organic and it fit and it was fine. And then I got home and I realized 222 people had watched that thing. And I was like, man, I shouldn't even be teaching social media. I should be going to listen to her talk about it, right? But the New York Times said 2016, a year we were confounded, shocked, and humbled. It was a big year for us, right? So 2017 is going to kind of be the year to kind of come out of that, I think. And really, I know this sounds like really high level, altruistic, like a little patriotism mixed in with a lot of like, why is she talking about this? This is what your customers are feeling, right? This is the time for you to get that emotional connection. Just being real and being present is going to be a big deal to them. Okay, so how many of you think you have loyal customers? Completely loyal. Okay, good. Good. I hope that's true. Rohit Bhargava is who I was talking about that I heard on the podcast, and he talks about things that are non-obvious. He talks about this stuff, and he did talk about loyalty, and he talked about loyalty programs. And every time you swipe that Kroger Plus card, are they really wanting to give you 10 cents off a gallon of gas? Huh? They want to know what you're spending, what you're buying, so they can create a database on you, and then give it to Procter & Gamble and everybody else and send you coupons and know everything about you. And now that they've got their new click and shop thing, it's freaking me out. Every time I get on there and open it up, it's like, here's what you bought the last time you shopped. And I'm always like, hey, big brother, I am going to buy milk, but I don't need you to tell me I'm going to buy milk, right? Come on, right? So we've kind of gotten to the point that loyalty programs and those types of things are more tracking, right? And we're kind of a little bit distrustful of that too. But understand, he gives this really good example of like a sandwich place that has all these loyal customers. And then all of a sudden a place opens up down the street and he didn't have any more loyal customers. And he called a couple of the people that weren't coming, and he was like, if you really liked my food, and the guy was like, yeah, your food was okay, but I only went there because I didn't have to turn left. Oh, that's not distinctive and compelling and adding value. He thought, I have all these loyal customers. I'm doing a great job. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, right? So he didn't switch up the menu. He didn't talk to his customers. He just opened the door every day, and they kept coming in. And all of a sudden, someplace else opened that was new, and nobody had to turn left. And he kind of lost some clientele. And then he stopped and thought, oh, now I got to get them back, right? That was tough. So making sure you have satisfied customers is really important. And making sure you take a satisfied customer and tell their story. 14% of people believe advertising, okay? So if I do a billboard, even if I get the newspaper to highlight me, or the chamber puts me on their website, or I do anything, even a Facebook Live, 14% of people are gonna be like, okay, right? Because we all know somebody's trying to sell something. What people believe more are other people's experiences or reviews of something. 93% of people trust a complete and total stranger's star rating and review. And we all know that's true, because I don't eat many places without my Yelp app. And it's not even to find out if this place is good, it's to streamline what could be a 45-minute menu situation with me, trying to figure out what to eat. Somebody's taken a picture of it because the menu doesn't have any pictures. Somebody's described it in detail. Those things promote my patronage of a place. It will promote me trying something new. It will promote a lot of things, including my confidence in a brand. So telling your story is good. You doing a Facebook Live is good. Getting a customer, even better, right? Even better. Getting your customer to tell your story. And you don't even have to hand them your phone and let them do the Facebook Live. You don't have to do it typing up their, asking them if they would do a video, asking them if they send you an email. Soliciting response and then repurposing that is so important. Downtown Marriott, every once in a while, they don't do it very often, but every once in a while, they will go to TripAdvisor, they will find a really good review, and they will tweet it. And it's just a really good reminder. And I also love it because it lets me know they're checking that stuff, right? They're constantly listening socially. I check in everywhere. I check in on my phone on Swarm or Foursquare, and I checked in here today, right? I check in everywhere I go because I like for that business to get a mention, right? And I like going in places and having, if I go to Scotty's Brewhouse, a lot of times if I check in, it'll pop up and say, so show this to your server and you get a free dessert or a free app. I love that, right? Every time I check in at Scotty's, within 24 hours, I get a direct message on Twitter that says, how was everything? And it is awesome. And I'm very conversational. I'm always like, it was great. I had the fish tacos and we got to sit outside. It was so much fun. I love that place, right? So they will come back, and I know it's creepy for them because they're like, ooh, I wasn't expecting for us to have a whole long conversation, but they'll be like, good, glad everything is great. Fish tacos are my favorite too, right? And then they hit send thinking, please don't let her come back. Because I'm sure some people don't even check direct messages or whatever, but man, what a lasting impression. And if I left there feeling kind of want about my Scotty's experience, Now all of a sudden, I've got an outlet to tell that. It's just good social listening, right? Now, that doesn't mean you have to go home and you have to like start responding to everybody. But if you're listening and you're present and you're there and you're authentic, if I was in Scotty's and the manager came by my table and said, how was everything? It's no different, right? It's the same thing, it's just on a different platform. So keeping customers loyal, keeping social listening. So I put this up here. So I'm gonna tell you a story about those digital natives I deal with. For Thanksgiving break, I told my students, here's your homework. I want you to go home and I want you to ask mom and dad what steps they would take if they had to buy a new washer and dryer. I want you to write that down. When we come back on Monday, we're gonna like deal with it or whatever. So he goes, they come back, you know, the 4 people that remembered to do it. I said, tell me about mom and dad's like customer journey to the washer and dryer. This kid was like, man, I try to tell them this doesn't make sense, but they want to go to the store before they do anything. They want to talk to somebody. And everybody, all those little faces in the room, they're like, I said, how many of you would buy a washer and dryer on the spot if you didn't have to interact with another human? Right? They don't like to talk to people. I said, well, tell me what you would do if you're, oh, well, I would get online and I would read all the reviews about it. And then I would do a comparison on the Best Buy shop where I could look at this washer and dryer and this washer and dryer and this washer and dryer. And then I would go figure out how many stars that one had. And then I would go over to this and then I would go to CNET and I would see what everybody else had to say about it. And then I would go in the store and I would look at it. And I said, okay, but let me tell you what happens when you go in the store. Someone's going to see you come in and they're going to walk up to you. And what are they going to say? Can I help you? What's going to come out of your mouth? No. And you don't even make eye contact with them because you see the washer and dryer and you know you came to look at the washer and dryer. You can walk right past the people and go over there, right? And I said, or you're going to walk in to buy a washer and dryer and nobody's going to approach you because they're all busy talking to other people that came to actually talk to a human about a washer and dryer, right? You have to be everywhere with the washer and dryer. We all interact and engage differently. I'm kind of a hybrid of the two. I want to know that the person knows what they're talking about, so I'm going to do the research and then go. It's just so different in how we collect information. So if you are a subject matter expert on travel and booking travel, right? The same people have never licked a postage stamp, like book travel on an app, right? They're staying at strangers' houses. These are they don't understand your full functionality and why I would approach you, right? So if that's a demographic you're trying to relate to, you're going to have to explain your purpose and your value and show examples of where you have helped people. Is there anything wrong with taking a customer and helping them rate you or helping them figure out how to best give feedback? Like if you helped a younger couple, let's say with their honeymoon, and they sent you a video and said, this was great, or if you contacted them when they got back and said, how was your trip? Or they bought a house and you checked in and they were like, you did such a great job. I don't see a problem with leading them to where they can leave you feedback. If you have a place for feedback.
I asked that.
Yeah.
My question is, how do you, I'm gonna say force, but it's like people are like, you did a great job, I love you, I'm gonna refer you to everybody I know when they ask. But how do I get them to actually either give me something that I can share, you know what I mean, or force is the best, I can't think that's not the right way to do it, but I know they like the service because they're tagging when other people want to go on the vacations, but I can't get them to post it on my page.
Call to action. If you want them to do that, just ask them.
I do. But how much do you ask until it becomes, oh my God, that Christian lady won't leave me alone?
So every time I buy something from Old Navy, I'll get an email, I don't know, within 2 weeks, and everybody cares what you think, rate this, right? They contact me via email all the time. It's so easy to delete. So easy to delete. If you call the person, you just.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I would have a real hard time telling you no.
Okay.
Right? Now, sometimes I won't review, I get up every day and preach to my students about getting LinkedIn referrals, right? Or recommendations. Get recommendations. It's awesome. Get recommendations. Well, then I go to my LinkedIn and it's like, you have 7 requests for recommendations. And I'm like, oh, great, right? Like I had to get in the right headspace. I had to sit down. I had to pull them up. I had to research them. Like, what am I going to say, right? Because I got to say the right thing. That's vulnerable. I can't like say this and then, because I'm representing the university, I'm representing my own brand, I'm representing this youngster. Like this is a high stakes situation. It is nerve wracking, right? So there was the fear of that. So maybe say to them, if you have a second and you can pull up my page, I can show you what other people have done, or just kind of walk them through. It won't be everybody won't do that. If I'm not on Facebook and I'm not active and I'm not a good writer, if you're not seeing me posting a ton, then you're probably not going to approach me to post for you, right? Like make sure you get the right person, and not every person you help has to give a testimonial.
I think it's harder to tell somebody face to face no.
It is much harder to tell
I mean, I know
somebody
we're
face
talking
to
about
face
social
now.
Media marketing, but I'm saying if you're reaching out to somebody on a direct mailer, something like that, even face to face being Facebook Messenger, if you say, hey, I want you to do that, it's hard to say, well, I'm in a live conversation with them, so
Right.
I don't want to tell them now.
Well, and it would
You
mean
can at least email or-
they're in the middle of telling you, you sold me the house of my dreams, right? Or you were so amazing to work with, and then I'm going to refer you to everybody. You could say, you know, the best way to do that though is I would love for you to be able to share your experience with people that aren't even in your group, like your friend group. It would mean so much to me if you just helped them, right? I mean, I'm with you.
You're hitting the thing about good feedback is just it's timing. I mean, you got to ask, you got to make it convenient, and if it can be simple and you know that person can do it, timing is key. If it's a year later, if it's 24 minutes after they left, I mean, and everything in between, you got to know when to ask. That's knowing your customer base. I mean, if they just bought something from your store and they're going home and they want to interact with it, I'm too busy interacting with it, So, you got to know your customer base, and timing, I think, is key on feedback.
Definitely. It definitely is. And how engaging with your current customers for a few different reasons. And I like this little graph thing because I want to talk for a minute about when we're on social, whether it's a tweet or repurposing other content or doing a video or sharing new products or new services or new things that you have or reminding people of a date. That's all content, right? And you already have like people that are going to follow you and people that you know will engage with it, right? I'm a liker. I love to like stuff, except on Twitter, I don't like stuff because when I like something, that's my bookmark. It puts it in my likes and I can go back later. I notice a lot of people are still using the like button on Twitter as like they use the thumbs up like button on Facebook. I'm more strategic in what I like. And now on Instagram, I can save stuff, which is kind of cool too. So I can actually like stuff and not have to like commit to the material or whatever. But figuring out what content they use, and this goes back to your Facebook analytics. Like what content do you get good engagement on? If you pop up and do a live and the thing about it is it saves it, right? So people can kind of go back and continue to look at it. If you're noticing you didn't get a lot of traction from that, I'm gonna go out on a limb and guarantee you that you didn't add value with the content. How do you know what adds value? You have to talk to nothing is ever gonna replace you having conversations with your customers, but you will start to notice how you can put your customers in different segments, right? You have different customers and they're all kind of alike. The other thing you can do is figure out what content works, figure out who your current customers are, and if they aren't sharing or recommending you or engaging with your content in a way their network can see it, you go delve through their network and find out who else they're connected to. That's one reason I love LinkedIn for good content, because if somebody likes something on LinkedIn, it tells everyone in their feed that they liked that. Okay, that's good. That's really good. So LinkedIn isn't for everyone, but you can start to generate things and build a brand on LinkedIn in a different way than you could on anything else. But you joked about being a good creeper earlier, like being a personal creeper, and like how can I do better with social media and business when I'm a personal creeper? You can creep as a business person. You can go out and check their network, right? Because really what you're trying to do is you're trying to hit what I call the sweet spot, right? You're trying to find good content that your followers and potential or current customers will engage with, that they will want to put into their network somehow, right? That's what you're looking for, the sweet spot. That's hard to do until you take a look at what they will find and engage with and then who's in their network. We spend a lot of time on the wrong groups when we take a look at who their network is, right? And that's one thing to consider is this loop, you can handle a lot of that on your own, right? So there's a lot of stuff you can impact with just taking a look at the network that you're trying to like find your way into. But again, if you can get them to like and give feedback, I'm going to talk about that. Chatbots, we'll go back to that. I know I'm running out of time. If you can get them to do online reviews, right? 85% of customers read online reviews, and that was in 2013. I guarantee it's probably more now. 79% represents an increase of like over time, so that was 2013, probably even more. An increase of overall satisfaction rating by 1 star will increase your sales like 20-some%. So if you've got a 4, 4.5, 5 stars, and you've got more than 2 or 3 ratings, people are automatically, you've built a level of trust there, right? People will trust other people's experiences. So make sure you're giving people a place to give you reviews. Facebook has it built in. A lot of these apps will, Yelp isn't just for food now. Everyone can be on Yelp and share their experiences and share their stories. I've seen people go on TripAdvisor and just annihilate a hotel, like annihilate them. And then I watch the conversation. So sorry, can I call you this? By the time it's all done, they don't remove the bad review, which I love. But when my husband looks at reviews, I go to the I want to read like all the good stuff about. My husband goes directly to the 1 stars, right? And he'll read it and go, that's not even what that product does. Why would you give it a 1? Like he works his way up. So when I see those really low ratings and I see that the hotel is listening and responding on TripAdvisor, then I have a really good feeling that the culture of that hotel, if I were to stay there and have a bad experience, is to handle it while I'm there.
This whole thing on rating and TripAdvisor does this, and I'm not sure the other platforms do this or haven't recognized it yet, but on TripAdvisors, those that give reviews are actually rated and you have different levels. Did you know that? Mm-hmm. So that you have a level 12 person who rates versus someone who just gives a single review. And, I would love to get a review from someone who's a level 12. They just got so much more respect and so many more followers than someone that just came through once, right? So I give everybody
the opportunity to review, because if you're a level 12, you're probably getting paid at some point. You're a serial reviewer. But yes, there are verified reviewers on Amazon.
Drive-by rater versus someone who's seasoned.
Hey, if they're a customer and they liked my business, it could be your first time reviewing. I'll take it.
I'm talking about the negative reviews.
Well, you're a lot more inclined to negative review something than you are to positive review something.
Right, because the passion and the emotions there, right? You're mad. You feel ripped off. You didn't get what was promised.
Right.
And when we do get what's promised, well, then what's what I paid for?
Right.
Why would I go shout that around, right? It's been that way, yeah.
As far as Yelp goes, what's your recommendation as far as just managing Yelp yourself internally, or paying them to put you up higher in the results?
I guess I'm going to give you my patented marketing answer. It depends. Are you like, what is it?
Liquor stores here in town.
Okay. That's almost the location thing, right? And then the customer loyalty and the service and the So I guess the person on Yelp looking for a liquor store is probably outside of your geographic area looking for some specific, I want to get on a bourbon list, or I want to get, what is it that you're I don't know that that's an investment, unless you think it is, to bring people from outside the area to you because you offer some level of service beyond just driving down the street and finding you. Does that make sense?
Been talking to them over the last, 3 or 4 weeks, and we make the decision internally to just manage it ourselves. Go on there, post our own pictures, and then, because it's fairly expensive.
Yeah. They're trying, again, they got the Twitter rash, right? This is cool, everybody loves it, everybody uses it, we can't figure out how to make money unless we get you to buy something from. So here's your take. I know I'm over time and I apologize, but here are your takeaways. It's really awkward, and I promise you have to be strategic, and if you're gonna go live or do video, figure out how to add value and just do it. Do it from your messy desk. Do it if you're in the middle of a home improvement thing. Just do it a couple of times. Put yourself out there. People are like doing live video from their kid's birthday party. You're not gonna feel like intrusive. I mean, I urge you to try it. Be strategic though, right? Like, what value is it? What if I do this? How long should it last? What should it look like? You can ask a lot of questions. If you have a customer that comes in and can't figure something out, do a Facebook Live. Bob is here and we are trying to figure out, where this works with this or that. Does anybody have any good feedback or anybody? Ask a question, do something, but be real and be vulnerable, right? Embrace your flaws. This is another good one. I'm hurrying, I'm sorry. But if you constantly get complaints or get comments from customers that you have potholes in your parking lot, make fun of your own potholes in the parking lot, right? Or have a pothole party or do something with that. Like, if you embrace it,
Have a pot party.
yeah, make sure get the whole pothole party or make it a big deal that somebody's coming to fix the potholes, right? When the pothole people come to fill in the pothole, take a selfie with the pothole filling guy. Like, embrace that, make that a thing, right? But lead your customers. Lead them. Call them and ask them for the review. Call them and ask them for what you need from them. But you set the tone and you have to be strategic. They probably haven't left you a review. They probably don't want to do a testimonial. They probably don't want to do so because they don't know why you're using it. Part of the reason that I was on the Facebook Live video looking completely insane is because that is something consistent that salon does all the time. And I knew it was okay, right? That's, again, just an extension of their brand, and it was okay. But you can be strategic and you can lead them. I have actually, sometimes when I write reviews, I'll send it to the small business and say, I want to write this review or I want to put this somewhere. Is this okay? Because I write a lot. And nobody's going to read 5 paragraphs. So I always say, what out of all that I just wrote would help you the most? Just pull some of it out and let's use it, right? But I'm the marketing I'm the weirdo. You're not going to find people like me, and that's probably a good thing. But find out what your customers want. Find out, what they want to communicate, and that's just talking to them. When you have them there, that's where you're building the relationship. What you're going to do later on social media is just an extension of that. Sorry.
I wasn't overestimating what she was going to be able to do, was I? Let's give her a big hand.